How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to the movie review, aka after I saw review video for today. This time for this new episode for this series is going to be my review on the 2023 mystery film, and that is Haunting in Venice. Now, this is directed by Kenneth Branagh, and this is the third Agatha Christie story to be released to the big screen, in which Kenneth Branagh directed two Agatha Christie stories that were made for the big screen, which were Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, which both movies I really enjoyed. So he's now come back to make a new Agatha Christie story to the big screen, which is this film, and this film is based off one of Agatha Christie's stories, which is called Halloween Party. And the story of the film is that in post-World War II in Venice, we see Hercule Poirot, once again played by Kenneth Branagh. He is now retired and he's now living in his own exile, but later on he reluctantly agrees to attend to a seance in Venice. But what ends up happening is that one of the guests is murdered, and it is of course up to the former detective to once again uncover the killer. So that's pretty much the story of A Haunting in Venice. Now, Kenneth Branagh directed two of Agatha Christie stories that were made for the big screen, in which, like I said, were Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, which both of those movies I really enjoyed. I thought Murder on the Orient Express was a pretty solid start to this whole new series of films that he was making here. Although we already did have an adaptation of that story for the big screen, which was made back in the 70s. I've never seen that film, but for the other version I did see, like I said, I thought it was a pretty solid start to this whole new series of films that Branagh was making at the time. And then after that we had Death on the Nile, which I thought that film was even better than Murder on the Orient Express. I had a great time with that film, and I remember seeing that movie in the cinemas when it came out last year. So when I heard he was making a new Agatha Christie story for the big screen, of course I was really excited for it, and there was a lot of reasons. One is because of the cast. Like, of course, you got Kenneth Branagh returning as the famous detective, Hercule Poirot, but I was really intrigued to see the new cast who were in this new story here, like, in which you've got Tina Fey, which I've never seen her do anything like this before, because I mostly see her doing comedies, like Mean Girls and anything else and all that, but I was really intrigued to see what she was going to do for this film here. And you have the most recent Oscar winner, Michelle Yeoh, who's one of my favorite actresses. I was really excited to see her in this new Agatha Christie story here. And you also have Jamie Dornan, which in recent years has done better things after the whole 50 Shades phenomenon. So I was really excited to see what he was going to do for this new film here. And you also have Jude, whom I really loved in Belfast, and he was a total show stealer in that film, and I was really excited to see what he was going to do for this new Kenneth Branagh film here. And another reason why I was looking forward to it was because this film has a bit of horror elements to it. And while for the first two films they didn't have much horror elements in there, they mostly involved mystery. While in this film, it still has the mystery, but it does have a bit of horror to it. So I was really excited to see that ever since I first saw the trailer. But when I first saw the trailer, I didn't even know what kind of film this was at first. I thought it was just going to be some like random horror film. But towards the end of it, I just immediately found out it was a new Agatha Christie film starring Kenneth Branagh and all of that. So I was really excited to see all of that as well after seeing the whole trailer and all of that. And I went to see this film just a day after it came out because I wanted to see something else at the time, and I went to see this Tommy Job for free in a really big screening, and there was a lot of people in the screen that I was in, and I still have my ticket for the film, which I do have right here. And after watching this whole movie here, I gotta say, this has gotta be even better than Death on the Nile here. I had a really great time with A Haunting in Venice here. This film was indeed a great watch here. For Kenneth Branagh's performance as Hercule Poirot in this film, I thought he was terrific in the film, from delivering a lot of great materials to his character here in this film, from being like really charismatic to being real likable here. And I thought Branagh did a really great job from delivering all that here in this film here. And Michelle Yeoh, I thought she was terrific in the film as well, especially for one scene in the film which I thought was absolutely amazing, which we'll talk about later on during this review. And Tina Fey, I thought she was also terrific in the film as well. And for seeing her doing something very different than what she's known for, she really kicked out the park here. And I'd love to see her do more things like this in the future here. And as for everyone else who are in the film, in which, like I said, you've got Jamie Dornan, Jude Hill, and Reilly. They were all great here for their performances here in this film. And as for the direction by Branagh, it is very well made here by Branagh through the whole location shooting of the film, which looks really beautiful since this film is set in Venice. And it's also terrifying to watch here through all the elements that this film showcases here, through the thrills to the tension to the horror and all that, which I thought all that was well balanced here. And the camera work in this film I thought was very unique here. There's some Dutch angles which I thought was spot on, especially for a film like this, since this is a murder mystery film but with a bit of horror to it and all that, which I thought was spot on. And This film also uses a 360 angle, which I thought was absolutely amazing. It's for one scene in the film where it's the seance scene, which the seance scene was absolutely amazing, especially through the camera work as well. And it's also really creepy to watch here. And I absolutely adore that moment in this film. However, when it comes to the horror aspect of the film, it is one of the weakest aspects that this film has here, because I kind of felt the horror aspect for the film was a bit lacking and also pretty weak here. But there's still a fair amount of them that I thought wasn't too bad, but there was just a few of them that I felt were pretty weak and yeah, really lacking here. And as for the story, it is a pretty investing story, although it is a little bit similar to some of the other stories that we've seen before that's been adapted to the big screen here. But still, though, the story isn't too bad here overall, and the film is also well paced as well, since this film is a bit shorter than the last few films and all that. So overall, in the end, guys, A Haunting in Venice, this film was indeed a great watch here. I had a really great time with this new murder mystery film here, and I can definitely say this is definitely the best of the whole, like, Kenneth Branagh, Agatha Christie movie series here. And if you are a fan of the previous two films, or you're a huge fan of, like, Agatha Christie stories, or you're a huge fan of Kenneth Branagh or any of the other actors in the film, I can definitely say this will definitely be a good cup of tea here. And I do recommend you see this film with either your best friends or your family. So that's pretty much all I have to say about A Haunting in Venice. I'm going to give A Haunting in Venice 4 out of 5. Like I said, this is definitely the best of the Kenneth Branagh, like, Agatha Christie series here. And despite having a few faults of the film, I still managed to have myself a great time with this new murder mystery film from beginning to end here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my A-Cafe Saw review on A Haunting in Venice. And let me know what you think of this new movie if you have seen this already, or if you just recently checked out this film. Did you have a really great time with this, or was this not really a cup of tea? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Foggins Media Corner signing off.